Well, sir, it's early evening as our scene opens now, and here in the living room of the small house halfway up in the next block, we find Mr. and Mrs. Victor Gook. Vic is established at the library table playing himself a somewhat low-pressure game of solitaire, while Sade, in her husband's easy chair, peruses the newspaper. And at length...
Read the daily little love story.
I never read the daily little love story.
Kind of cute tonight.
You're kind of cute your own self.
I ever tell you Bess reads these same daily little love stories? She does. They're printed in the Freeport paper.
I hear burglars in the kitchen.
Hi.
Hi. I know what I ought to do.
What?
Oh, write a letter to Daddy Brainfeeble. There's never very much to say to Daddy. Person says I'm fine. How are you? And can't think of anything else.
Everybody home, are they?
Not at all. I'm in Peoria and your mother's in Moline.
Sister Miss Grayson are from Moline. He's got a sister living there.
I refuse to believe such sensational news.
Oh, what's the matter with me tonight? Sleepy as a horse.
You look bright-eyed and expectant, George.
I'd like to make an announcement and then ask a favor.
Okay.
Something on your chin, George. Look. Well, goodness.
I know somebody whose eyelids are getting pretty heavy.
Golly, yes.
Hi-ho, hi-hey. It's you for Blanket Bay.
Yeah, unless I collapse before you even get upstairs. What'd you start to say, Willie?
I want to make an announcement and then ask a favor.
All right.
On second thought, I believe I'll put the shoe on the other foot and ask the favor first. I'd like permission to skip school tomorrow.
Ha.
I'd like permission to skip school tomorrow to witness one of the most unusual sights in the history of civilization.
Smelly Clark, I'm going to dive off the People's Bank building into a bottle of ink.
My Sunday school teacher is going to tear up the street.
What's this now?
My Sunday school teacher, Miss Neagel, is going to tear up Lee Street alone and single-handed.
Well, the trash you come home with. Person wouldn't believe the wild nonsense.
It's not trash and it's not wild nonsense. It's the absolute truth, or I don't stand 7 feet high. You know where Miss Neagel lives there on Lee Street?
Yeah.
The block between Market and Monroe?
Uh-huh.
Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, Miss Neagel starts to work tearing up that block.
She is a destructive lady.
As far as I know, she's the only lady in the history of the world that ever tore up a city street, and single-handed. I see you people have got skeptical expressions on your faces, but in a minute you'll realize... Most likely Bluetooth Johnson.
Oh, Ruthie, I haven't seen or heard from her all day.
It might be some beautiful woman, heavily veiled and greatly agitated, yearning for the love of old Vic Gook.
Oh? Yes, Bluetooth. Bluetooth Johnson.
Oui.
I just said to my folks I bet it was Bluetooth. Yeah. Oh?
You know what I feel like?
Yeah.
An apple.
Well, where'd you hear that, Bluetooth?
Funny how a person will all of a sudden and for no particular reason feel like something. It popped in my head out of a clear sky, an apple would taste good.
Yeah.
I'm not hungry or anything. Goodness, I only just had supper.
We got any apples?
No.
By George, that's mighty interesting information, Bluetooth. Yes, indeed. Well, I'm not sure whether I'll be able to get permission or not. I'm discussing the matter with my folks now. Well, thanks very much for calling, Bluetooth. You bet, fella. So long. Rooster Davis's big brother Rotten's going to be foreman when Miss Neagel tears up the street tomorrow.
Oh, what is this craziness?
If you let me explain, you'll see there's no craziness to it.
Go ahead.
That block on Lee Street between Market and Monroe, where Miss Neagel lives, needs to be torn up. The regular street gang is busy on a job out by the ballpark. Miss Neagel heard about the situation and volunteered her services. The city accepted them. There's the story in a nutshell. If you don't believe it, telephone Miss Neagel.
All by herself, she's going to tear up the street.
All by herself, she's going to tear up the street.
My land.
And she figures she can do it in one day. She's all beef, you know. Strictly all beef. Ordinarily, they have a gang of 7 or 8 men. But not this trip. Miss Neagel and only Miss Neagel. She'll make the bricks fly. She's the dandiest Sunday school teacher that ever come down the pike.
You're not giving us a delicious helping of axle grease, are you, Margaret?
Telephone Miss Neagel. Check on it. Most likely the first lady in the history of civilization to tear up a public street.
What was that about Rooster Davis's big brother Rotten? Is he going to help her?
No. He's got the job of foreman. Foremen don't work. They're not allowed to work. Foremen just sit on a barrel and smoke their cigar and watch. You see.
Telephone's ringing. Telephone's ringing.
Most
Probably
likely
Bluetooth
Johnson.
I bet a nickel it is Bluetooth Johnson.
I sure hope so.
Hello? Yes, Bluetooth. Bluetooth Johnson.
Praise heaven.
I just told my father and mother I bet it was Bluetooth again, Bluetooth. Yeah.
Now that I thought of an apple, I can't get apples out of my head.
Life plays funny tricks.
Well, good for him. That's fine.
Like in the picture show the other evening. I all of a sudden wished I had a glass of lemonade. Would have paid $0.25 for a glass of lemonade.
Quite Bluetooth. I mean, quite true Bluetooth.
Oh.
That's right.
Get off my foot, Fade. Get off my foot.
Yeah.
Well, no, I haven't got permission yet, Bluetooth. We're still discussing the matter. Well, I'll leave you know. Okay, fella. You bet. Goodbye. Hank Gustav's got the job of holding the flag when Miss Neagel tears up Lee Street tomorrow.
Yeah?
He sits on a barrel and holds his red flag and tells automobilists to use some other thoroughfare.
You're good and sure this ain't all foolishness.
Telephone Miss Neagel. Check on it.
Young girl mixed up in such wild trash.
She may be a young girl, but she's husky as a horse. She's all beef. Strictly all beef. I told you about how she lifted the front end of Fat Peterson's sedan.
Yeah.
And you saw her yourself go to give Harry Foster a friendly slap on the back out in Miller Park that Sunday and knock him clean over a picnic table. Why, she can chin herself 20 times.
So there was 19.
She broke her own record just last week. I tell you, the woman's all beef. Strictly all beef.
Well, will she get all the money they'd ordinarily pay the regular street gang?
I'm not quite sure about that. I imagine she's made some satisfactory deal with the city. The first woman in the history of civilization to tear up the public street. And single-handed.
Rooster Davis' big brother Rotten and Hank Gutstop will probably lend her a hand.
Well, they can't. Rooster Davis's big brother Rotten, as foreman, isn't allowed to lift his little finger. He sits on a barrel and watches. And Gutstop, as flag holder, holds his flag and nothing else. He sits on a barrel and hollers at automobilists to take some other thoroughfare.
Telephone's ringing. Telephone's ringing.
Most likely
Probably
Bluetooth Johnson.
Johnson.
I wouldn't be surprised at what it's Bluetooth.
Bluetooth is a wonderful man.
Hello? Yes, Bluetooth.
Bluetooth
Johnson. Sure. I just told my folks I bet it was Bluetooth again, Bluetooth.
I still wish I had that apple.
Shall I go out in the bitter cold and get you one?
Nah.
Well, what do you know about that, Bluetooth? Miss Neagel herself probably got him the job. Sure. Well, that's mighty interesting information and no mistake. Sure is. You bet. Well, I'll talk to my father and mother and see what they say and leave you know in the morning. Yeah. Okay, Bluetooth, and thanks for calling. Now, that's all. Goodbye. Miss Neagel got her gentleman friend, Fishigan from Sishigan, Michigan, a job.
Oh?
He's going to be water boy tomorrow.
Well,
I think it pays 40 cents an hour.
he can help with the work.
No, sir. His duty is to give Miss Neagel a dipper full of water every time she gets thirsty. The rest of the time, he sits on a barrel. That's the law. The law states that all street gangs have to have a foreman, a flag holder, and a water boy. It also states that none of them is supposed to do a single thing aside from the duties attached to their office.
It'll be a stimulating sight tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
3 big husky half-wits loafing around on barrels while one frail girl rips bricks-ups out of the street.
Frail girl, nothing. Miss Neagel is all beef. Strictly all beef. Well, how about it? You people certainly won't refuse.
You're not going to miss any school, Willie.
In a situation like this, where for the first time in history...
You can go watch Miss Neagel before school takes up in the morning. You can go watch her all tomorrow noon and when school lets out.
Hey, that's the ticket, William.
You can't be swayed in that decision, Mom?
No.
I was more or less prepared it'd turn out this way.
Then there's no need to be heartbroken.
Oh.
I may stroll over in the direction of Lee Street myself sometime tomorrow.
The first woman in the history of civilization to tear up the public street. And single-handed. Miss Neagel is all beef. Strictly all beef. Strictly, all beef.